Jake Paul was attacked on the streets by Andrew Tate, and honestly, many saw it coming. New York was in chaos on December 14th as months of tension between the two finally exploded. Their meeting wasn't planned, they simply crossed paths by chance. However, Jake couldn't resist throwing out some over-the-top insults at Andrew. What followed was absolute mayhem, just as Andrew had hinted it might.
It's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters, who would f you.
When it comes to Jake Paul, we all know he's built his career on stirring the pot, whether it's challenging combat sports legends like Mike Tyson or carefully selecting opponents to maintain his undefeated streak. But what happened on December 14th was far more than just another call-out. This time, it was Andrew Tate, worth $710 million and a four-time kickboxing world champion, confronting Jake in the middle of a bustling street as if he had a point to prove. This down bend began, and he certainly did.
You want to fight, you want to set a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a goofy, entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate. Google it if you want to know more. Any day, anytime.
For those unaware, Andrew Tate is not the type to do anything halfway. This wasn't a casual encounter or some Twitter spat. Tate confronted Jake Paul right in the middle of a busy street, surrounded by fans with smartphones poised to capture every moment. It was nothing short of a public reality check. As for Jake, his signature bravado seemed to vanish. If his confidence were a volume knob, Tate dialed it all the way down.
Come on, work. Let's go. Work. Come on, keep going. Work! Come on, fight. Make it. 50 seconds. Come on, 20 seconds to walk. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, work. 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 Good. Work. 10 seconds. Work.
Jake Paul lives off confidence. It's his trademark. Whether he's trash-talking opponents or flaunting his lifestyle to 20 million followers, that self-assurance is what drives his brand and sells his fights. But in that moment, his confidence was nowhere to be seen. Andrew Tate wasn't just another random guy Jake could brush off with a snarky remark. He wasn't one of the carefully selected opponents Jake's team had lined up. This was Andrew Tate, a whole different league.
Yeah, he'll never do that, though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract. And two,
he's not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better. He might
and it's funny to say, like, yo, Conor McGregor is scared of Jake Paul, will never box.
Jake's body language said it all. Andrew Tate didn't need to shout or throw a punch. His towering presence and unshakable composure did the talking. Jake, who usually thrives in confrontations, looked completely out of his element. You know it's serious when the guy famous for his loud mouth and sharp comebacks is left speechless.
I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. I'm 5 years out the ring. I'm a kickboxer.
This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment encounter. Andrew Tate's decision to confront Jake Paul had been building for months. Jake has made a name for himself by calling out legends, many well past their prime, while skillfully avoiding true challenges. Tate saw right through the act. For someone who spent his life dedicated to combat sports, watching Jake cherry-pick opponents had to be maddening. And when Jake had the audacity to call Tate a washed-up fighter, that was the final straw.
So when you see some of these crossover fights, obviously I know that you and Jake Paul have had your disagreements. Do you think that Jake's gotten better as a boxer?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And listen, what Jake Paul has accomplished is he's fighting old guys.
Yes.
He's fighting, all he fights are old guys and whatever. But listen, say what you want, he wins. And he makes money. So he's doing his thing, you know.
Tate didn't confront Jake Paul for clout. Let's be real, he doesn't need it. It wasn't about money either. His bank account is already overflowing. This was about making a statement. In combat sports, respect isn't earned through follower counts or trash talk. It's earned by stepping up against real competition, something Jake has consistently dodged. Tate wasn't there to play games. He was there to show Jake what respect truly looks like. December 14th started like any other day, until it didn't. On a crowded street surrounded by fans and onlookers forming a human circle, Andrew Tate made his move. Phones were out, cameras were rolling, and within minutes the footage was everywhere on social media. Hashtags like Tate as Paul, Jake Paul exposed, and No Time to Die, respect the game, were trending in no time.
Two brothers, one cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
Don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful. But of course, I have absolute faith in myself and my brother, and I know what we've been through, and I know the kind of men we are.
Jake Paul's entire persona is rooted in the idea of being untouchable, the underdog who always defies the odds and silences his critics. But when Andrew Tate stood face to face with him, all that bravado disappeared in an instant.
That's delusion. I'm sorry. Look, Andrew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. Sorry, Tristan Tate is the weak link.
I say let's
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
A MMA double tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight on your hands.
That would go crazy.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. No, seriously.
I'm
let's
about
do
the
it.
action. Like I'm less talk now. Let's just fucking go.
Yo, but you know for a fact, me and Jake will travel to Romania. We will make this happen. We'll do it wherever you want, whatever conditions you want.
Why don't you lose to an old man who's retired? I live in the real fucking world, Jake. There's a whole bunch of fighters out here who live in the real fucking world. Men who are dangerous and dedicated their lives to this sport and don't have a fucking fraction of the money you have because you managed to become a fucking clown.
Andrew Tate didn't need to do much. His sheer presence said it all. With his towering physique and years as a kickboxing world champion, there was no need for shouting or posturing. Jake, on the other hand, was visibly rattled. He tried to fire back, as he always does, but this time his words fell flat. This wasn't a situation he could talk his way out of. Pete grimaced in pain, gave a low howl, and slipped. As soon as the footage hit the internet, it was game over, at least for Jake's ego. Within hours, memes flooded Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. From comparisons to a kid being scolded by their dad to outright mockery of his bold persona, social media had a field day. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate's fanbase skyrocketed. Even those who weren't diehard fans couldn't help but respect his composure and dominance.
Go fight! Hey, fight! Hey, go fight! Hey, work! Hey, work! Hey, work! Hey, work! Hey, work! Work! Hey, work! Hey, work! Hey, keep going. Come on, work. Go, work. Come on, keep going. Work! Come on, fight! Fight it. 20 seconds to walk. Let's go, let's go, let's go!
The debate raged on. Was Tate right for calling Jake out so publicly, or was this just another instance of two egos clashing for attention? Regardless of where you stood, one thing was clear. This wasn't something that was going to blow over anytime soon.
You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out.
This wasn't just a confrontation between two people. It was a clash of two very different ideologies. Jake Paul embodies the new era of combat sports, where clout often trumps skill. His fights are less about proving himself as a boxer and more about creating viral moments. Andrew Tate, on the other hand, represents the old-school mentality, coming from a world where respect is earned in the ring, not on social media.
The best boxer on the planet is Jake Paul. Why?
I mean, who's doing it?
I mean, if Mike Tyson says, let's do this, are you down?
100%.
I'm gonna make Mike my girlfriend.
Would you fight Mike Tyson? Again, no, because he's now old, and I would be an absolutely tragic shame to knock out an old version of his prime myself. That doesn't feel fair. Prime Tyson would have ripped me apart in a boxing match. So to beat him when he's past his prime is dishonorable, and I'd feel dirty for doing that. So there's no amount of money on the planet that would convince me to fight.
For Tate, this wasn't just about Jake Paul, it was about what Jake represents, a shift in the combat sports world that values spectacle over substance. By confronting Jake, Tate wasn't just defending himself. He was standing up for an entire generation of fighters who have dedicated their lives to the sport.
I'm known as a fighter in a way that he never will be. I'm known as a fighter in the way that if you throw me in a cell with a murderer, a rapist, and 2 drug dealers, people look at me and go, okay, respect. He would have left with a higher male body count than his fiancée. That's how he would have left.
In the days after the confrontation, the internet was buzzing with speculation. Fans were already wondering if Jake would step into the ring with Tate or continue avoiding real competition. The media only fueled the fire, running headlines like, "Andrew Tate humiliates Jake Paul," and "The showdown that could change combat sports forever."
Jake Paul can fight. It's not like Jake Paul can't fight.
Yeah.
Jake Paul just won't fight anybody.
For Jake, the fallout was brutal. His image took a major hit and his critics grew louder than ever. For Tate, it was a victory, both in terms of respect and exposure. He didn't just call Jake out. He proved everything he's been saying about respect and authenticity in combat sports.
Somebody like me, he'd mentioned me before, and there'll be people out there saying, oh, Carl Froch's talking about himself, he's after a payday. Listen, I'm not after a payday. I'm doing all right. There's no problems with my...
The big question now is what's next for Jake Paul and Andrew Tate. Fans are already demanding a sanctioned fight, and the internet is buzzing with predictions on how it would play out. Some believe Jake doesn't stand a chance against Tate's experience and skill, while others argue that Jake's youth and determination might give him the edge. One thing is for sure, this rivalry is far from over. Whether it leads to a fight in the ring or more drama on social media, the world will be watching. For now, all we can do is wait and see how Jake responds. Will he rise to the challenge, or will he keep playing it safe?
2 brothers, 1 cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beef.
This confrontation wasn't just a one-time event. It was a wake-up call for Jake Paul, a harsh reminder that respect isn't earned through trash talk alone. Andrew Tate made his point clear. You can have all the clout in the world, but without respect, it means nothing.
Pressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out.
For fans, this was more than just entertainment. It offered a glimpse into the growing tension between traditional combat sports and the new age of internet-driven spectacles. As for Jake, it might just be the reality check he didn't know he needed.